On today's episode of The Living Flip, I'm going to show how we built this beautiful built-in library wall using IKEA Billy bookcases and backlit the books with an inexpensive LED light strip. Once upon a time, a boy met a girl working for a mouse. They fell in love and realized they'd never own their own home working for the mouse. So they packed up a big truck and moved to New Jersey, lived in a basement to save money for a year, and bought a foreclosure to fix up while they lived there. This is their story. If you're new to this series, this family room has undergone a lot of changes since they bought the house in 2019. First, they whitewashed the brick fireplace, then planked the ceiling, added new lighting, crown molding, radiant underfloor heating, French doors, a ceiling fan, TV, and an electric fireplace insert. But my daughter Julie is an avid reader, and she always envisioned built-ins around the fireplace to display her collection of books. I've done several projects hacking IKEA cabinets. They're a great value and really easy to leverage into any custom design. For this project, we'll be using 4 Billy bookcases. These are the big ones, 79.5 inches tall. Plus we added an extension unit at the top to add another 14 inches of height. The overall height of 93.5 inches worked perfectly to wrap the crown molding around the top. And that's one of the tricks to making good built-ins. If you want to make an ordinary cabinet look custom, you need to permanently incorporate it into the room so that it looks like it's always been there. You never want to cover outlet boxes, so we cut the back of one cabinet and let the outlet pass through. We also cut and removed the baseboards so the cabinets could be tight against the wall. But we had an issue when we discovered the fireplace wasn't centered in the room. Alright, so this space is 14 3/4. Over here is the stock size, and you can see the stock size is 15 3/4. So we need to take an inch off of all the shelves and the back, and then we need to put it back together again, like Humpty Dumpty. Now to get the length of the shelves, I took the 2 sides and put them together over there, and then that way I can just measure the distance between them. And it is 13 1/4 inches. All right, so I measured 13 1/4, put a little bit mark on this shelf, and I also made sure which edge of the shelf is being cut. This is the one that's going to be against the wall. So I'm going to cut off these shelf pin things. I can't redo those. I can't use those. So I'm going to cut an inch off, and then I'll screw it in from the side. But you won't see the screws because they'll be against the wall. The only downside is you won't be able to move the shelves. That's pretty good. Nice clean cut. I've got a good blade in there, and so let's make sure that it is 13 1/4, and it's perfect. Good. Now we just got to cut the rest. All right, with the saw in the same exact position, we are going to take the same exact amount off of the back, and it should fit exactly the right way. We'll see. Now, since I cut an inch off of here, we obviously can't use the cams on that side, but we can use it on this side. So we assembled the side that is going to be against the other cabinet, and now we're going to put the other side on, and that'll be done with screws. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, I got a small bit that I'm using to make a pilot hole all the way into the shelf. And you can see we marked exactly where we want these holes to be, and made a line so I know exactly where the shelf is. And then I'm going to switch to a little bit of a wider blade just to make a pilot in the side itself, to make it a little bit wider for the screw. And I know it's ugly, but it's not visible. Okay, this is just a test fit. We gotta lift it up because of that baseboard, Josh. Gotta lift it up and over that baseboard. Oh, like a glove. Look at that. That's beautiful.
That's pretty good.
It'll work great. Now the Billy uses these horrible little shelf pins that actually insert into the bottom of the shelf so that they can't slide out. All right, that's where they're gonna go. Now, I need to make sure this is gonna be straight. Well, I do have this square, and I could put this in an eyeball, but I also have something else. I don't have a smaller one, so I'm improvising with a license plate. So I could put that in here, get that exactly where I need it to be, drill a hole and put in a screw.
Perfect.
Wow.
Nice. And of course we want some accent light in the bookcase, so what we decided to do, the easiest thing I should say, is to just use backlighting and just put an LED strip along the back of the shelf. And that's really easy. I mean, there's going to be an awful lot of shelves, so we're going to have to cut them and wire them in, but that's the easiest way to go about it. And I bought one kit that has 32 feet of LEDs on one transformer, and since there will be an outlet in the back of this one over here, that's where they'll put a smart plug in or something like that, and the lights can go on and off automatically. We measured all the shelves and cut the LED strips to length. Then we soldered them to 2-conductor thermostat wire, which was the wrong choice completely because it was too thick and hard to bend. We had a few wires pop off during installation and had to resolder them in place, which was a major pain. We should have used light speaker wire that was stranded and easier to bend. All the wires were joined and soldered behind the cabinets to ensure nothing would ever come loose. After all the wiring was done, the cabinets were screwed together with 1¼ trim screws, which leave tiny little holes about the size of shelf pins. It's important to attach any bookcase to the wall for safety, whether you're making them built-in or not. We just used the included angle brackets and made sure to attach them into the studs. Here's what the cabinets looked like with the LEDs installed, off and on. I admit the lights are ugly when the shelves are empty, but they look great when there's books in front of them. To power the LEDs from the left side to the right side, I passed that brown wire in front of the brick and just tacked it into place with hot glue. It'll be hidden later by a mantle. To match new crown molding over the old, we coped it using a grinder and a sanding disc. Then we pre-assembled the outside corners with wood glue and brads. Then I used more brads to secure that assembly. The gaps disappeared with caulk. The mantle was made from 3 1x6 pine boards with pocket screws. We attached it by screwing in from each cabinet rather than attaching it to the brick. That made it a lot easier. If you really want to enhance the built-in look, then it's important to fill any open spaces with filler strips, and also cover the bottom of the bookcases with baseboard. Otherwise, you can clearly tell that they're bookcases. Finally, we added brick mold to cover the edges of the brick and hide the HDMI and extension cord for the TV. You'd never know they were there if I didn't point them out. The left side of the cabinet has an outlet, so it hides the DVD player, Xbox, and the LED transformer. The other side is for storing games and other stuff. The stained wood mantle is a beautiful contrast to the texture of the brick and the sleek white cabinets. It'll look great with stockings hung at Christmas, and there's no risk of combustion because it's an electric fireplace. So what do you think? please leave a comment with your thoughts about this project. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Welcome home.
Be sure to subscribe and watch our new series, The Living Flip. Ooh.
Look.
And that has 1.25
It's the little one. That's the